lunches, for dinners. You can make it ahead of time, you can freeze it, you can pack it for school lunches, you can have it with salads for lovely summer evenings, and that's zucchini slice. So this was a favourite when I was young, and I think to the point where we almost overdosed on it, but it seemed like every night we had zucchini slice, which completely suited us because it was delicious. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to make and all the various combinations that you can do. So the thing to get started, we've got the oven on 170 degrees Celsius, so that's getting warmed up now. The ingredients are 5 eggs, a cup of self-raising flour, sifted self-raising flour, 375 grams of zucchinis. We need a cup of cheese, a packet of bacon, and 1 large onion. So they're the traditional ingredients that I sort of grew up with. But what I'm going to do is put a little bit of a spin on that for this recipe, and I'm actually going to make a Mediterranean style, I guess for want of a better word, zucchini slice, where I'm actually, instead of an onion, I'm going to slice up a leek. I'm going to replace the cheddar cheese with some feta cheese, and I'm also going to add some mini Roma tomatoes and also some basil. So the first thing we need to do is whisk the eggs together. So I've already got 4 eggs in there. So I'll pop the 5th one in. Now, as I said, the beauty of this recipe is that you can add whatever ingredients you want to it. So you can put grated carrot in, you can put things like tomato in, you can put chopped up asparagus. For vegetarians, just leave out the bacon. You can mix the cheese up, so you might, instead of put cheddar, put feta like we are, or put some goat's cheese. It's really up to you. You can also put curry powder in it to give it a bit of spice. And as I said, it's a great meal that you can freeze. So often on a Sunday I'll make up a few batches of the zucchini slice, pop it in the freezer, I should say cut it up, pop it in some snap lock bags in the freezer, and then when you get home, you're tired, you don't have time to make dinner, you can just defrost and warm up one of the zucchini slice and serve it with a lovely salad. Okay, so we've beaten up the eggs there. The next thing we're going to do is add in the flour. So we'll just pop that in there. Now you might know zucchini as courgette, so sort of got 2 names. Really great vegetable. You may have had zucchini fritters before, and I can assure you that once you get this zucchini slice baked and tasting, you'll just love it. So we're just mixing our mixture together there, really easy. Make sure that all the flour is whisked in. Doesn't matter, it will have lumps, it doesn't matter, it won't be really floury when you eat it, so don't be too concerned if it's not really smooth. So we've popped that all together. So the next thing we need to do is grate our zucchini or courgette. So about 375 grams, which usually works out to sort of 2 medium size. And because it's such a soft vegetable, it's really easy to grate. The other good thing with this recipe is there's really not many bad elements to it, so it's a nice healthy option. Oops, as I fly this zucchini all over the bench. Okay, so we're just going to pop that in the bowl. Just remember, if you're adding a lot more ingredients in, you might need more wet mixture like egg if it starts to get too dry. So we're just combining the zucchini in the flour and egg mix. So the next thing we're going to put in is a sliced leek. Now you can choose an onion for this, a chopped onion. I like to mix it up a bit, so I'm going to put in a leek. So what I've done is I've peeled the outer layer of the leek, and I've cut off the end. I've washed it to get any dirt out. And now I'm going to thinly slice it through like this. Now one of our zucchini slices will make about 6 serves, depending on how big you like them. So as I said, it's good for a family meal or to make for your lunches for the week. It's great to serve with salad. You can pop some toppings on it. When you serve it, a little bit of Parmesan cheese while it's warm, it reheats really well. Okay, so that's our leek, and we'll just separate it as we add it in there. So we've added our leek in, and I'm just going to fold the mixture in so that's combined in there well. Some other things you could add in is some broccoli, as I said, asparagus, sweet potato, grated carrot. It's a really great base recipe that you can just keep adding to and experimenting. I'm actually going to only put a tiny bit of oil in. Usually it's 1/4 cup, which is quite a bit of oil. I'm cutting right down on that because I'm putting in tomatoes which are already juicy and quite wet, so they'll already add that element in there. So I'm going to wash these tomatoes and start cutting those up. So I'm just going to slice them in half because I think it's nice to have sort of chunky parts of tomato in there. If they're a really big mini tomato, I might put them into quarters. And really the amount that you put in is up to you. I'm going to put sort of a handful in. Okay, so that's the tomatoes in. We'll mix those in. The other thing you can do is once it's in your cake tin to cook, you can press a few more down into it. Okay, so that's right. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut up this bacon. So I've got a packet here which is about 175 grams, and really the easiest way is to just leave it stacked, slice it up. Now, as I said, if you're cooking this for vegetarians, you can leave the bacon out. Make sure when you're mixing stuff that you've chopped in sort of layers stacked up that you do separate it well, or otherwise you'll get sort of large chunks. So we'll pop that in there. And then once that's done, we'll add the cheese. Now, as I said, usually you would put a cup of grated cheddar in, but we're actually going to substitute that with some feta. You could use goat's cheese, you could use whatever you like. So this is 250 grams of feta, and we're just going to crumble that in. You don't need to cut it, just crumble it into the mixture. You could put olives in here if you want. As I said, the possibilities are endless. That's our cheese in. And we're just going to mix that in. And then the last thing I'm going to do is put in some shredded basil into this mixture. Wipe our spoon down. And then salt and pepper to taste. And that's it. So really easy. Great recipe for all the family. So once we've got that done, I will start preparing the tea. Is in there now. We've popped salt and pepper in to taste, and now we're going to prepare our tray. So we're just using a cake tin, some baking paper, top over with enough on the side, press it down, and we're just going to put our mixture in. Make sure you scrape all out of the bowl. So that's what it looks like. So we're just going to press it down into the corners. Make sure it's all evenly over. Now this is where you could press some more tomatoes in. You could put a topping of cheese, but we're going to leave it like this. I'm going to tear a little bit of that hanging over paper so it doesn't burn too much in the oven for about 30 minutes. So what I'll do is put it on for 15. Test it after 15, probably turn it around in the oven and then keep it cooking. It doesn't rise too much, so you don't need to worry too much about having high sides with the baking paper, but do keep an eye on it to make sure it's not burnt. The zucchini slice has been cooking in the oven for about half an hour, and I've been checking on it. If you do put things in it like leek, which are quite sort of long and thin, make sure that there's no bits sticking up that could burn easily and that it's all pressed down and an even surface. So I've checked it with the skewer, it's cooked and ready to bring out. So I'm going to bring it out of the oven, let it cool on a baking rack, and then it's ready to serve or to cut up and pop in snap-lock bags. So there's our very easy zucchini slice. Thank you so much for joining us. I've had a great time sharing this recipe with you and look forward to seeing you next time. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and subscribe on this Party Hour channel. So we're on Instagram, the Party Hour, and obviously on the channel that you're watching now. So have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you.